And welcome back. You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast for the pettiest bitch you know, which is you or me. Probably you, but that's okay. We're all petty. Okay, let's get to Sanity Corner / I feel petty. I'm going to go first. I feel petty about Luis Rubiales, the head of the Soccer Federation in Spain. We talked about him last week. We talked about him planting a non-consensual kiss on the lips of Jenny Hermosa, who had literally just won the World Cup. Like, athlete at the top of her game, winning the biggest prize there is, and this fucking asshole kissing her and then lying about kissing her without her consent. Anyway, the thing I feel petty about is Luis's mom. I don't know if you guys saw this. Okay, his mom went on a goddamn hunger strike to protest.
I did see this.
The fact that Luis Rubiales was fired. He was banned by FIFA. And he's barred from participating in soccer anymore after there was like massive protests. And we actually have a listener shout out in a few minutes, and I'll get to more on that in a second. But there was like, big protests. People were like, get this fucking guy out of here. Jenny Hermosa did not back down. She was like, this was not consensual. I am not going to pretend that this is okay. Anyway, got fired, and his mom is in a church having a hunger strike now. And I feel like as soon as I read that article about this crazy bitch having a hunger strike about her son who was wrong, she's going to a church to do this. She's going to a church to do this. I get why he is the way he is. I get it. It's like, oh yeah, your mom, you were just set up to be a guy that kissed women on the lips without their consent, with a mother who excuses you by going on a hunger strike.
You mean a mother who's acting like he's being detained by North Korea right now?
Yeah.
I know she's having tapas on the side when no one's looking. Little tapas on the side.
Seriously. I mean, having one plate is barely eating. It still counts as a hunger strike if you just have one order of tapas. So that's what I'm feeling petty about this week. Alyssa, I want to hear what you're feeling petty about this week.
I don't know if this is Sanny or petty, but
okay.
Can we just all rejoice that The Idol has been canceled?
Ooh.
As one of my many jobs, I run a production company, and every time I see a television show that gets greenlit, I'm like, how'd that happen? What's that going to be about? How is that? And I was obsessed with watching The Idol because it was expensive. It had all these celebrities, and it was one of the absolute worst shows I have ever watched. When I found out that The Weeknd was dating Selena Gomez, I was like, did she not watch The Idol? She should not date The Weeknd. But there were so many stars. That's the other thing. The show had amazing talent. Jane Addams, Hank Azaria, Divine Joy Randolph should have had 10 times as many lines as they gave her.
Hari Neff was
Hari Neff. There were so many people, and they made the absolute worst use of almost all of them. And I was like, if this show, after that absolutely fucking absurd final episode, gets renewed, I don't think I can work in this industry anymore. This is outrageous. But it got canceled, so I can keep being employed for a little while.
I never watched The Idol. Is that crazy?
Oh, thank God. Julissa, after the first episode, I knew I should stop, but I just couldn't stop. I had to see where it was going. And every episode was just slightly more deranged than the one before it. And by the way, it's not because of what people said, it was all sexy time between, Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd. I didn't care about that. It was the absurdity of every episode. It was not the nudity, it was the absurdity.
It was, okay, so I remember there was a bunch of buzz before that was the scenes are the sex scenes.
Oh, it's going to be porn. It's so porny.
Racy. It's porn. And I watched episode 1 and I was like, this is a 15-year-old virgin's idea of what it is to do horny stuff. And it's
Erin, that for me to have finished watching that show, since I am basically the resident prude here on Hysteria, for me to finish watching it, that shit was not sexy. No. I was like, yeah, this is like watching a bad murder on television. This is fine.
Yeah. I would say I've seen Unsolved Mysteries reenactments that were better acted than that show. Even though there was incredible actors in the show and they do a good job in their individual parts, it's like the the whole was just, it's like if you tried to make a casserole with like a bunch of different good ingredients that don't go together, and the person baking it didn't know how to work an oven.
It's all like that. It's like that drink that Kendall drank at the end of Succession from the blender that they all made. That's what the sex scenes were.
Meal fit for a king.
Fit for a king. Yes.
For a king. Julissa, Sanity Corner, or I Feel Petty?
When you said Kendall, I thought you were talking about a different Kendall, and then it brought up Bad Bunny, but I'm gonna leave that alone for now.
No.
Because I will not go there, because I was gonna go with the Sanity Corner, and I will not let that take away from my Sanity Corner.
Yeah.
So my Sanity Corner is Suits. And I know everybody's talking about how, everybody's binging it and blah, blah, blah. I think, I probably started watching it like the moment that it got on Netflix. And as I sort of briefly mentioned earlier, it's a thing that I watch when I'm holding Rayita for her naps. And, I just set up my little iPhone and I put on an AirPod and I press play on Suits, and I forget sometimes that I've been holding her for an hour and a half because I'm just like so into the episode. And like, it's kind of ridiculous, and it's getting more and more ridiculous as the season. I'm on season 8 now, the final season. And Mike Ross, who is like one of the main characters, who's kind of the whole show is based around his story, is not even on the show in season 8, and neither is Meghan Markle on season 8 anymore. But it is the show that it's just like, it's perfect. It's, there's no stress about it. It's not like when I finish watching it, I'm still thinking about the show, but it's just perfect for that 1 hour where you just want to forget where it is you are. You just want to get like immersed in this world, and like you're rooting for different people. And I'm like Harvey Specter, like he's a saint for all, from my perspective, he's great. He's the best character written ever. Well, okay, I'm going a little too far, but it is like, it is the best show because it's not, I don't know if it was critically acclaimed when it came out. I don't know if it won any awards, but it is a perfect show for anybody that just wants to be entertained. If you just want to be entertained, Suits is a show for you to watch.
Okay. I feel that way about Sister Wives.
I think
it's like 20 seasons or however long. It's just put it on.
You're never going to run out of content. I started watching 90 Day Fiancé for that purpose, and then they kept adding more and more 90 Day Fiancé, and I'm like, I'm never going to catch up with 90 Day Fiancé content. I can't watch this much television. It's too much. Julissa, what are you going to... But you're like coming to the end.
I know.
Season 8.
I know.
What are you going to do?
I'm scared because... and one thing about Suits, to kind of bring it back to what the conversation was about, a friend of mine told me, because I was like really depressed about, holding my daughter for this long and like just kind of going crazy, like not having to, because I like holding her if I didn't have anything else to do in my whole life, including eating and like peeing and taking a shower. But my friend was like, think about it. Like right now, you're maternity leave, which means like your job is to take care of her. So you just look at it like that. Holding her for her naps is part of your job. Just have to make it fun for you. Find a show that you like and start watching it, and you'll feel accomplished. And she's right. Like after every season, I'm like, I finished the season. I'm like, okay, next season. Like I feel so accomplished. So now that I'm on the last season, and I've already watched also Working Moms, which is a really funny show on Netflix.
I think that's so funny.
Like the
I
first
love that
two seasons
show.
were really, really funny. And I think that's why people started calling maternity leave mat leave, which I totally laughed about. The first time I heard it, I was like, mat leave? What the hell is a mat leave? Like, I had never heard it referred to it that way. It sounds so posh. So yeah, now I don't know. So if anybody has some good recommendations, and it has to be that kind of criteria. It has to be not high stakes, not something I'm going to be thinking about when I'm trying to go to sleep. It's just got to be something entertaining, funny, some drama, good plot. So send me recommendations.
Oh, you know what? I love to show. There's only one season, so this might only last you like a couple of days. But there's a show called We Are Lady Parts. It's like a UK show about a Muslim girl punk band, and like it's so like feel good and like I don't know. I really loved it, and there's great music in it, and the actors are really fun to watch, and it's got a sort of like sweetness to it. I really love that show.
Lady Parts.
But We Are Lady Parts.
We Are Lady Parts.
It's really good. But also, when Juniper was little and she was, breastfeeding a lot because that's what little babies do, I started watching Real Housewives from season 1 of Orange County's Real Housewives. And so, like, but I didn't really get very far because by the time I got through, like, season 3, like, I wasn't doing, like, breastfeeding round the clock, basically. Yeah. So now whenever I see, like, a early 2000s top, my nipples start to tingle. Because I have such a strong association.
No reality TV for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
So it's got to be, something scripted, please.
Okay. I'll send you some recs. I'll text them to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Zarna, you get to be the anchor leg of this Sanity Corner / I Feel Petty. So what's it going to be? Sanity or petty?
Oh, I have to go with petty. I'm sorry. It's where my mind is right now. I just launched a family podcast, which is a podcast with me and my whole family. And we talk about topics that are taboo in our culture. And now I'm finding out in a lot of cultures. And, I do all the work. You guys run a podcast. It's a lot of work running a podcast. It's a lot. There's production, there's script, like what are you going to talk about? Then there's the editing, there's all of that, right? My family just shows up. I tell them, show up here and we're going to record. Okay, fine. They do it. They're lovely. They're so accommodating. They're a support mom, whatever, right? Now, after a few episodes are out, for no good reason, my husband is the star. Everybody watches every episode.
Damn those husbands.
Oh my God, your husband is so hilarious. No, he's not. No, he's not allowed to be hilarious. There's one comic in the family. That's me. I wrote the whole thing. Are you kidding me? I grind hard to put this thing out there so that it's out on time and you can. And like really, his one quote from The Godfather that he even bungled. He didn't even get the quote right. It's 4 words. He got it wrong, and you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious!" It's like, I don't know what it is. Like the threshold for a guy to be good is so low. Meanwhile, a woman could I could climb a mountain, cure cancer. I could do 10 things. I would be on the space shuttle, take a trip around the moon, the whole thing. They're gonna be like, yeah, but she didn't breastfeed long enough. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, when your husband goes out in public by himself with the kids when they were little, I'm sure he got Father of the Year, best dad in the world.
I can't even. Can I do we have 1 more minute for me to put an anecdote in? Because it's just happened. It's his birthday today, my husband's birthday, okay? My kids wrote him a note. Each kid wrote him, I made them, but they wrote a note nevertheless. So the note was there when he woke up. My son, thank you so much, Dad. You're the best dad. You work so hard. All true. Okay. And then he goes, and I knew you were the best dad because that one time when I slapped my friend Sanjay, you supported me. I took all the heat of the world when that happened. The school called me. I had to go in and apologize and take the kid and apologize. And behind my back, it's my husband out being the good cop. He said, oh, mom's already doing all of that. Let me just tell you, you were right. I couldn't believe I read the note. I'm like, thank you for supporting me. I'm like, what? I mean, the slap was totally warranted. There's a whole backstory to it. But that's not the point. The point is that we were supposed to sit these 2 7-year-olds got into a kerfuffle, how do you say it, But he even took that opportunity to be the good cop and left me out to dry with all the hard lifting of parenting.
You know what? That reminds me of after breastfeeding, changing diapers, playing with my baby, all this stuff. My husband comes home from work, says 2 little things ya llegó papi, and she starts laughing. And I'm like, what the hell? Why I cannot make her laugh right now. It's the only person that can make her laugh is my husband. It's so annoying.
Oh my God, that's so funny.